Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Karen. I am so excited to have you here. If you've found me previously, you probably saw me on my business YouTube channel, and right now you are on my personal YouTube channel, and you may have seen a version of this video that I'm about to go into today on the business channel, but I decided I wanted to separate it out because on this channel I'm going to be talking about entrepreneurship and what it's like to run a business. And this is like the perfect video for us creative entrepreneurs that work one-on-one with clients or work within a team to manage client communications and their projects. So if that is you, definitely keep watching. But a little bit about me: I run a e-commerce consultancy that specializes in Shopify websites for luxury and modern lifestyle brands. And so part of that process includes making sure that when I'm working one-on-one with clients, that there is an easy process to go through. Like, certain phases need to happen before we dive into the next phase so that we can ensure that the project stays on track, because I know for a fact and from experience that sometimes projects can go beyond the timeline that is expected. And if you've ever had a situation where you had a project pre-planned for, like, say 2 months, and then it's somehow miraculously extended to 6 months or even into the next year, um, then you know what it's like. So I use this process in my business to help ensure that we are staying on track with the project, that the client feels like they understand where we are in the creative journey, that communication is happening. I mean, how many times, raise your hand, have you had a client go, well, I don't know where we are in this project, where are we at in this phase? So part of making sure that clients are in the loop about what's going on is to have an effective client management process and helping them to see like where we are in the journey to helping them reach their goals. And this template can help you do that. And don't worry if you decide like, hey, I love this template that I'm sharing with you today. You can go ahead and buy it, because I am letting you guys have it. Like, you just copy it off into your space in ClickUp and you will be good to go. So I'll link everything about how you can buy it in the description for a very beautiful investment. Okay, very beautiful. So let me go ahead and jump in and share my screen, and I'm going to walk you through how I use this template in my business to ensure a seamless client experience. So we know that ClickUp is very advanced in some aspects in terms of features and functionality to other project management systems and tools, which makes it amazing, and it just gives you greater flexibility to be able to create things that work for the style that you have and how you think. But also on the flip side of that, it can become overwhelming because all of the features and things like that, like, you really can just have so many different options. So my first suggestion is to limit the amount of features that you actually use when you are managing your project with clients. So in my business, I actually share this project space with clients as we are working together so that they can see what's going on and also provide feedback. I know that some businesses don't have that as an option. They mainly will communicate via email. But for me, I want to make sure that my clients are part of the process. And so I actually give them access to be inside of this project space. And I'll show you how I close off certain things that apply to me as we go through this walkthrough. But yes, definitely make sure you aren't using every feature of ClickUp so that it is simple. And one of the best things you can do when you are working in this type of capacity with clients is to make sure that you aren't using custom statuses when you are engaging. And the reason behind that is because when you start using the custom statuses feature inside of ClickUp, these little quick check marks right here, go away. And you don't want your client having to decide, like, what should the next step be? Should we be going from open to in progress, or whatever custom status you have in mind? Like, you want to keep it simple. And so that's what I do. Like, I just keep the statuses simple because I want my clients to go in, check off the tasks that are applicable to them so that it's done, and be done with it so they can continue on with the journey. So that is definitely my tip, to keep things simple. So let me go ahead and walk you through the different sections of this template that I use. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is the welcome section. And in the welcome section, I like to include just like their onboarding, like welcoming them into this process, into the project. Previously, I used to use a PDF guide that I would send after they officially signed on, and that was fine. But the thing about PDF guides is that people don't go back and usually open them. And so it's almost like open one and done, and that's it. So I wanted to have a space where they could easily refer back to some of the things that they need information on. So the first area that I have them actually go through is to make sure that they watch the video on how to use ClickUp, because for many of them, they've never used this tool before. And so I want to make sure that they are in the know of how to leave comments, how to check off things, how to access and provide communication when we are working in this space. And so I create a personalized video for each client that I work with. You can go ahead and decide if you want to do a personalized video for each client, or you can just have like a general onboarding video so that you can save a little bit of more time. It's totally up to you. And then the next thing is I go into the payment schedule, like what that looks like, and also just give them like quick reminders of like when their next upcoming payment is coming up. I also utilize my tool, which I use in my business, which is Dubsado. It is a CRM for creatives, and they also get reminders via that. So they're getting multiple reminders to make sure that they are staying on top of any payment schedules that they have going on. And then for communication and office hours, I just include what my availability is, how they can expect or when can they expect communication when they have a question, and then how we can effectively communicate throughout this project. That is really important, especially if you want to avoid people communicating with you outside of like your office hours and things like that. And then also I include a constructive feedback resource. So when I'm presenting creative concepts, they know how to provide accurate and like helpful information that can help me understand what type of message they are trying to convey and their ideas and thoughts. I think that's really helpful, because how many times have you had a client just like give you some information, you were like, I don't know how to use that. So I think it's helpful to make sure that you are giving them some examples of how to provide the most constructive feedback for you so that you can articulate their ideas more accurately. And also, just a heads up, if you buy this template, you get access to what those examples are. So you get access to what's inside of these little tasks so that you can modify it and use it to work in your business. All right. Next is FAQs. So for FAQs, I make sure that I am addressing commonly asked questions such as revisions. That comes up a lot, even though I mention it inside of the client agreement. I want to make sure that they actually have a easy to refer resource to get back to that information. So a lot of the times when clients sign on, they sign that client agreement or contract and they never really refer to it again. So if you have anything that's like important that is helpful for them to know throughout their project, put it in the FAQ section so that they can easily refer back to it. If a question comes up, then they know like, hey, oh, I remember, Karen said this was what the process was for XYZ. Oh, let me go ahead and check the project space, and then there's the answer. Again, it saves you some communication time. It also helps it to reinforce like your processes and procedures inside of your business, and will help you control any type of scope creep. So make sure that you have an FAQ section. And then also inside of this one, I do provide some insights on what you can say for these questions if you get this template. All right, so the next one is the onboarding. So for me, I make sure that I also include some sections that are only privatized to me, and this is one of them. So the client doesn't see it on their side, I only see it on my side, and that is just the onboarding, and that's just to make sure that I'm doing tasks that can help me make sure that this project is running smooth, and that is to like send their welcome email, get them access to the client lounge. And in my previous video, I had a question about what is the client lounge. So like I said, I used Dubsado as a CRM, and a part of using that as a CRM, you get access to a client portal. The client portal includes any type of files that you may have shared with the client, such as the proposal, contracts, invoices, that they can easily refer back to for their own information, and also just so that it's in one spot that's private to them and confidential. So that is what that is for me. I just reword it to say client lounge, but you can name it however you want to inside of your business if you're using Dubsado or some other CRM. And then also I make sure that I'm doing some tasks such as creating the shared Google folder, one central area, so that I don't have to go digging through each task trying to figure out where they shared that file information. So I make sure that's set up. And then I also give myself a reminder to assign any type of due dates or payment reminders or anything like that, so that I can ensure that this stays on track. And then also so that the client is aware of like where we are in this process. I know sometimes clients may feel like they aren't getting communication in terms of like the status of their project and like where we are in terms of progress. So utilizing a system like this helps make sure that they are staying in communication with what's going on with their project, so they can look in here and see the progress of like where we are in the journey to make sure things are on track. And that's also another like email that you are reducing sending out about like, hey, what's the status of XYZ? This is what you're going to be communicating your process and journey through, so it will eliminate that or reduce it. All right. So then after that, we go into the admin. Admin is anything that they need access to. So it's like quick links for my end, where I like to make sure that they have access to the client lounge, any Google shared folder, so that they can just quickly click onto it and add any information or access any type of information they may need. All right, so after that, we go into any pre-work type of information that needs to happen, such as filling out any questionnaires about their project or uploading any content. So this is stuff that is assigned to them, and then making sure that they schedule that planning call so that we can be on board about the direction for what we're focusing on for this project and answer any questions, and just making sure that we're all on the same page so that we can move forward into the next step. And so the next step would be just the breakdown of like what you're going to be working on for this particular client. So depending on what type of creative work you're going to be doing, you want to just make sure you break it off into sections. So if you're going to be offering branding, then maybe you will start off with brand strategy, and then you will break down the task of what that would look like, what's going to be assigned to you, what's going to be assigned to the client, and things like that. Same thing for SEO. Anything for web design and development. So one of the features that I really adore about ClickUp is that once you upload an image file, you can go ahead and have the client like click on whatever spot on that image to leave feedback. So if you are getting feedback from a mock-up, this is really helpful for them to be able to easily point out like, hey, in this section, I would like blah, 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 or whatever it is, whatever the feedback is. And then you can go in and comment on that with your feedback, and then you can also mark it off as resolved. So I like this feature. Before this was available inside of ClickUp, I actually used InVision to do this, and now I can just minimize how many different tools that I'm utilizing with clients to make this more seamless. And then after that, we go through like a feedback period, and then we'll get feedback, make sure that's all tidied up. And then I like to have clients sign off on different phases of their project. And I have them sign off via Dubsado using a form so that we know that, okay, this is good to go and we can move on to the next phase. And that goes through any type of phases that we're going through, even web development and things like that. Once we have that solidified, then we go into the final stages. So making sure that they have their training schedule, and then making sure that I have anything on my end in terms of making sure that the website is going to be set to go live, and then also any final sign-offs that needs to happen so that we can launch, and then any type of post-launch goodies that they need to be successful in marketing or just promoting their business, that goes into that. And then for offboarding, this is a privatized section to me where I'm making sure that I'm making the launch guide available for the client, and then also making sure that I'm going back in and following up with them like a week later, 30 days later to make sure that everything's on track. And I'm going to quickly show you what I mean by privatized sections. So I'm going to show you like my little organized section here. So if you're on a business plan or hire in ClickUp, you can go ahead and have private areas. So where you see this little lockbox, this is where it's only available and viewable to me and not the client. I like this method because it means that it's less areas that I have to check. Before, when I didn't have this option in like other tools that I was using to manage projects, I would just create a separate folder that was available to myself, and then I would just put each client's task inside of that folder. Now with this method, it's more streamlined. Like I know that this goes to this particular project, and it just keeps things organized. So that's what I mean by making sure things are privatized only to you. It just helps make the process a lot smoother. But yeah, this is how I use the template. This is a simple method that I use to help ensure clients have a great experience. I've gotten positive feedback from clients about this. Definitely one of the top comments that I get from clients is how easy the process is. So that is a common thing that clients are concerned about, is like, how easy is this going to be, especially when they are going through maybe like an overwhelming process of trying to find a creative partner that they can work with. They want to also make sure that they have pretty good or great communication so that things can be smooth. So definitely check out this template. I'll link everything that you need to get access to it in the description. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the process of how I use ClickUp in a simple manner to go through the whole entire creative process. And just as a reminder, you can go ahead and get the template that I'm using in my business for a very beautiful investment. It's a very, very nice. Okay, you guys, like I hooked you up. It is linked in the description of where you can get it. All you have to do is make sure that you are signed into your ClickUp account, and then you open that template and you can copy it into your space, modify it, make it your own, and start using it in your business. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to be talking about more entrepreneurship tips about running a creative business, and then of course like mindset, productivity, because I adore productivity. And yeah, all right, see you later.